Welcome to Crime Never Forgiven, a place where the past doesn't stay buried, where justice may sleep, but it never dies. We dive deep into real crimes that shook the world, from forgotten murders to unsolved mysteries. No reenactments, no fiction, just facts, and the truth that refuses to stay silent. If you're ready to face the darkness, then let's begin. I was just a junior clerk in the Sessions Court of Howrah when it all began. The year was 1873, and Kolkata buzzed with steam and scandal. But nothing prepared us for what would come to be known as the Tarakeshwar affair. It started quietly. A man walked into court one rainy morning, soaked to the bone, his eyes sunken like he hadn't slept in days. His name was Gopi Mohan Bose, a priest at the Tarakeshwar Shiva temple. He wore the saffron of devotion, but there was something else in his expression that day. Something darker than piety. He filed a petition, a simple one, for restitution of conjugal rights. His wife, Elokeshi Devi, had left him. She was young, barely 20, and beautiful in that quiet, moonlit way that made men look twice and priests look away. We thought it was another domestic quarrel, another husband trying to drag back a rebellious wife. But then she came to court, and everything changed. She entered the courtroom like a whisper. Soft steps, head bowed, eyes lowered. But when she spoke, the world held its breath. "I do not wish to return," she said, "because my husband is not the only one I have lain with." A hush fell over the courtroom. Even the fan above stopped its creaking for a moment. She named Nabin Chandra Babu, a wealthy Zamindar and regular donor to the temple. A respected man, a man who smiled politely even as his world cracked open beside him. From that moment on, the city talked of nothing else. Newspapers printed every detail. "Priest's wife admits adultery in court," screamed the headlines. The educated Bengali elite whispered behind closed doors about morality, about the corruption of Western ideas, about how women were getting too bold, too free. But I saw something else. I used to see Gopi Mohan Bose walking past the courthouse every day after that, watching Elokeshi leave. His face was calm, but his hands shook. I remember once seeing him kneel in prayer outside the gate, eyes closed, lips moving, but his knuckles were white like he was holding on to something more than faith. One evening, near the temple, I passed by and saw them together. Not Elokeshi and her lover. No, this was different. Gopi Mohan stood alone beneath the flame tree, muttering to himself, or maybe to the gods. His voice was low, urgent. I couldn't hear the words, but the tone, it chilled me. He turned suddenly, caught my eye, and smiled. Not a warm smile, a knowing one. Then in February 1874, it happened. Elokeshi went missing. At first, people thought she had run away. Some said Nabin Chandra had arranged passage for her to somewhere far, perhaps Benares, perhaps even overseas. Others believed she had gone into hiding, afraid of what her husband might do. But 3 nights later, a fisherman found her body near the steps of the very temple where her husband served. Her throat cut, her sari stained red beneath Lord Shiva's gaze. They arrested Gopi Mohan that night, found blood on his robes, found her shawl tucked under his bed. When they brought him into the lockup, I was there. He looked at me and nodded, like we shared a secret. At trial, he never denied it. He stood tall, almost proud. "She brought shame to the holy place," he told the judge. "I cleansed it with her blood." There were those who called him a martyr. Others called him a monster. Some said he was driven mad by betrayal. Others whispered that Nabin Chandra Babu had escaped justice far too easily. When the gavel fell, sentencing him to hang, I watched his face again. No fear, no regret, just silence. The case became front-page news across India. Temple murder stuns Bengal. Wife's confession leads to death. Was justice served? Nabin Chandra disappeared from public life. Some say he fled to Lucknow. Others say he died in exile, haunted by guilt. Elokeshi became a symbol. To some, a fallen woman. To others, a rebel who dared to speak the truth. As for Gopi Mohan Bose, his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. They say he prayed every day until the end, that he asked for nothing, that sometimes in the dead of night, he whispered her name. Years later, long after I retired, I visited the Tarakeshwar Temple. Pilgrims still came, Priests chanted. The stone steps had long been scrubbed clean, but I could still see it. The blood, the lies, the woman who dared to speak the truth and paid for it with her life. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if she haunts that temple still, if her voice echoes through the corridors of time, asking who truly sinned, who truly bled, and who got away with murder. You see, in this story, there are no heroes. Only shadows and silence. One man killed for honor, another for power, and one woman who simply wanted to live. And yet it was she who died. So tell me, if you heard this story today, would you believe her, or would you believe the man in saffron? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a story from the shadows. Because here at Crime Never Forgiven, the truth always finds its way out, even if it takes decades, even if it haunts us forever. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, crime never forgiven is crime never forgotten.